"Daddy, look. Mommy." The homeless black woman looked just like her. And the millionaire fainted. The sun shone gently over Central Park, casting golden halos through the trees as families strolled by and children laughed in the distance. On a quiet bench near the carousel, a man in an expensive gray suit sat stiffly, lost in thought. Michael Jennings, tech mogul, millionaire, and founder of one of the most successful AI companies in the world, seemed to have it all. But today, he was merely a widower struggling to keep his daughter's smile alive. His wife, Naomi, had passed away 2 years ago in a tragic car accident. And though he gave his 6-year-old daughter, Ava, the world, there was still a hole that no riches could ever fill. They were enjoying a rare, slow afternoon together, cotton candy, carousel rides, and father-daughter giggles, when Ava suddenly stopped, pointed across the walkway, and gasped. "Daddy, look!" "Mommy," she cried, her voice filled with disbelief and joy. Michael froze. His heart leapt into his throat, and instinctively, he turned toward the figure Ava was pointing at. Across the path, sitting near a worn-out grocery cart stacked with old blankets and plastic bags, was a homeless black woman. Her clothes were torn, her hair a wild halo of tight curls tinged with gray, and her face, though tired and weathered, bore a striking resemblance to Naomi. Too striking. Michael stumbled back a step as the world around him spun, the blood rushing from his head. Everything blurred, and then, darkness. When Michael came to, he was lying on the bench, with Ava holding his hand tightly and concerned strangers gathered around. "You fainted, Daddy," Ava whispered, her tiny fingers trembling. And when he looked again, the woman was still there, still watching, her eyes wide, her lips trembling. For a moment, Michael could only stare. It was impossible. And yet, those eyes, that shape of her face, her smile, it was like seeing Naomi alive again. Slowly, he approached her, half-dazed, his instincts torn between disbelief and undeniable recognition. "I'm sorry," he said softly, his voice hoarse. "But, do I know you?" The woman blinked, her expression wary but kind. "I don't think so, sir," she said with quiet dignity. "Name's Grace." Grace. The name echoed in his mind like a forgotten song. Ava tugged on his sleeve. "She looks just like Mommy, Daddy," she whispered. And Michael couldn't deny it, she truly did. Not just in looks, but in something deeper. There was a warmth in Grace's gaze that reminded him of the way Naomi used to look at the world, gentle, knowing, compassionate. They spoke for a while. Grace was hesitant at first, but Ava's innocent questions and Michael's sincerity seemed to open her up. She had been a nurse once, in another life, before losing her job after a hospital closure, before a devastating fire took everything she owned. "I never thought I'd end up here," she admitted. But it's amazing how fast life can unravel when no one's looking out for you. Her story hit Michael like a thunderclap. Naomi had always spoken about the cracks in the system, about people falling through with no one to catch them. She'd volunteered at shelters, fed strangers, and pushed Michael to fund programs he often dismissed. "People just need a second chance," she used to say. And now, here was a woman who mirrored her in every way, physically, emotionally, spiritually, living out the very tragedy Naomi had feared. That night, Michael couldn't sleep. He lay awake replaying every word Grace had said, every look she gave Ava, every time his daughter reached for her hand like it was the most natural thing in the world. The next morning, he returned to the park alone. Grace was still there, sitting in the same spot. When he offered her coffee and a sandwich, she smiled, genuinely touched. "I want to help," Michael said quietly. Grace shook her head. "I'm not a charity case." "I'm not offering charity," he replied. "I'm offering what my wife would have given you, a second chance." And that was the moment everything changed. Michael brought Grace to a transitional housing center he'd quietly funded years ago but never personally visited. He arranged for health checkups, clean clothes, and gently encouraged her to meet with counselors. Days turned into weeks, and slowly, Grace transformed. Her spirit brightened, her posture straightened, and her eyes no longer scanned the streets in fear. But it wasn't just Grace who was changing. Michael started visiting the center regularly. He listened to stories, offered resources, created jobs in his company specifically for those recovering from homelessness. It was as if Naomi's voice echoed louder with every step he took. Ava, too, flourished. Her once persistent sadness replaced by the joy of watching her new friend Grace paint, read to others, and teach her old nursing tips like how to wrap bandages and check a pulse. 3 months later, during a community event at the center, Grace took the microphone. Dressed in a simple blue dress and with her hair in neat braids, she stood tall before the crowd. "I was invisible once," she said. "But a little girl saw me." She didn't see a homeless woman. She saw a person, someone who reminded her of love. And her father, he listened. Because of them, I remembered who I was. Tears shimmered in Michael's eyes. Ava was perched on his shoulders, beaming. Grace smiled. "I've always believed in grace, the kind you don't earn, the kind you just receive when you need it most. That's what saved me." The applause was thunderous. By the end of that year, Michael had established the Naomi Foundation for Renewal, named after his wife, with Grace as its first community director. She now helped hundreds of displaced women and families regain their footing, offering not just shelter, but dignity, purpose, and hope. One quiet evening, as the sun dipped below the skyline, Ava curled up beside Michael on the couch. "Mommy would be proud of you, Daddy," she said sleepily. Michael kissed her forehead, eyes glistening. "No, sweetheart," he whispered. "She's with us. In every kind act. In every second chance." And somewhere in the heart of the city, a woman once forgotten now stood as a living testament to the power of being seen. Sometimes, it only takes a child's voice, a broken heart, and a moment of grace, to change the world.